This is Jay Hudson with Keller Williams Jay Hudson Homes, and today I am here with Brian Denis with Condor Construction Partners.
Started in Atlanta, moved up to Chattanooga about 3 years ago, and it's a family deal. My wife's a designer, and feel like we're fortunate to be able to do it together.
Well, that's fantastic. So I have a few questions for Brian that I'm going to ask him today, and I think that this is going to help with anyone that's looking at doing a new build, just what goes into it. How are new construction homes different from homes that are already done, already built?
Particularly in this situation, they have 3 kids, and they do a lot of activities at home. They do homeschooling, and then they're going to do some of the gardening and all this kind of stuff. So really, they were able to situate the house exactly how they wanted it. There was no really restraints as far as walls being in the way or footprint being a problem. So you just get an opportunity to really talk to the customer, figure out what's important to them, and then help them direct where their money's being spent. Here they do a lot of prepping for cooking too. She makes all of her own food essentially, and so the kitchen was a real critical space, even more so than traditionally the kitchen is pretty important, but this one was especially important.
And so what kind of modern features can I find in a new construction home today?
So I think energy efficiency is probably the easiest one to say. Looking at the windows, they've got argon in between the glass panes, for instance, which is something that's relatively new. The customization, of course, again, for instance, in this kitchen, she's doing 2 ranges side by side, so she'll have 5 feet of ranges, whereas before you're kind of limited on what that arrangement could be or whatnot. So really, I think it's just the customization and just the overall quality of everything going in these days. They've learned a lot from the past and putting in premium products. Even with the way they breathe too, so that's another point too. Just the way the house functions, I guess. It's easy to say energy efficiency and fancy words or whatnot, but it's essentially the house breathing, the circulation of the attic, just the way that all the components have just really been thought through and figured out at this point, compared to 20 years ago.
Sure. So how can I find a new home in the area? Like if I'm looking for new homes, obviously I want something that's a new build. How would I go about doing that?
I think that's the $1 million question. We've been up here for 3 years, like I mentioned, and we've seen it from just about every client recently struggling. So I think find in a custom situation, finding the land, finding the correct land is critical. As far as like where to go find new construction, I think particularly in our environment too, it's important to pick the lot wisely, because it could cost you an awful lot to try and situate a house on that piece of property versus buying maybe a more expensive piece of property that's more suitable to build on. Ultimately would be less expensive in the end. But minus the masqueraded neighborhoods, which is definitely an option, and several of them around here. As far as the custom homes go, it's we're in a little development now. Just find these little developments and try and pull up and talk to anybody that will talk to you and find out what's going on.
Right. So if I want to visit a new construction site, how do I go about doing that? Because obviously I've noticed that sometimes when I pull up, you don't even know that there's construction going on there. So how do you go about doing that? I would think that you'd reach out to the builder.
That's right.
Or if an agent has it listed.
That's right. Most of the time it's just curiosity. Most folks are willing to talk to you and tell you what they're doing and what their plans are and the level of their, I guess, the vision that they have for that community or whatnot. So I think just seeing the activity and then just going up and being curious, because even in today's environment, things are not staying around for very long. We're in this particular situation, we're orientated on a 5-acre lot. There was 5 of them. They are all sold before the roads were even complete, and then there's 15 just say average acre lots, and again they were people just simply driving in, talking to the developer, talking to the builders, and just showing some interest.
Awesome. So that kind of leads right into the buying process for new construction. How do I start the buying process? How do I get Do you have certain people that you work with if someone wants to get pre-qual or not? I don't even know. Is it pre-qualified for a new build?
Yes. So, like we've done in the past, been able to work with I don't want to say relevant. What would you say? Active real estate agent. Your team is out there pounding the pavement, and we've had a lot of luck with just having the realtor understanding what the client's looking for, and then we come in and kind of explain the situation. I mentioned before about the exhaustive kind of pre-construction process, and getting that through that is critical to the whole process. But essentially going in and good realtor, the land, going back to the land too, and that's where I think Jay's team does a great job about going to see this stuff, thinking through the whole process before you just go, something looks pretty and you go pull the trigger on it, not knowing rather that it's, you're on rock, or, you can't get septic in there, or whatever the challenge may be. So starting, I think, is get a good realtor. I would start there, and then, have that realtor help you find a builder that fits your needs.
And then also a lender that will do a construction loan?
Yes. So, it depends on who you go with, but yeah, ideally you would do a conversion loan where you would have a construction portion that was under, one set of terms, and then it would convert to a traditional 30-year type of mortgage, and have one closing cost. Not everybody offers that, but in some situations you may have to use one bank for a construction loan, and you may have to use another for the permanent financing. And really, there's just different thresholds for each one of them. And generally speaking, because you don't have a real hard asset, then it's harder to get the construction loan than it is to do the permanent financing.
Okay, outstanding. And then in the design and customization of a home, I mean, once you figure out the plan and everything, I think another benefit of new builds is that you get to pick what you want in your home.
That's right.
You get to pick your finishes, your flooring, what color you want paint. I mean, there's so many advantages to a new build.
Yes. So going back to, I guess, again, just the benefit of doing a custom house. We're here on the back deck, and while literally the electrician is walking around the house looking at exactly specific locations where the client has said they wanted something. So this one in particular, again, going back to the kitchen, she wanted, the kitchen, the pantry also is a big prep area in this one. So she knows what appliances she is using, and wanted outlets at a specific spot. They've got a workshop in the basement. Again, they knew what they were putting in there. So then we were able to put outlets exactly where they wanted. All the way to, we're going to do string lights off the back. That's, a popular thing right now. And we'll have an outlet in the soffit for that, just so you're not having to, wiggle wires around or try and figure out something that's more complicated. So it really is just kind of, you get to pick and choose as you go, and the clients will be here with the electrician also and talk like, okay, let's think through this together. The door opens this way. Okay, let's put the switches over here, that kind of thing. So just really every bit of detail.
So if you're wanting to learn more, contact us and we'll schedule a free consultation with Brian and his team to talk about a new build opportunity. And Brian, again, Condor Construction Partners, an elite builder here. Beautiful luxury home that this is going to be. I can't wait to see it finished.